What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 17 in my 11th annual 31 Days of Horror. Again with a 1980s film, 1980 to be specific. This one is a little bit better than the previous day's film. That one was The Hearse. This one is Don't Answer the Phone from the year 1980. Directed by Robert Hammer. This film was a video nasty film. I believe it was on the third section of the list, which basically got released cut, I believe. I think that's how it goes, but technically was a video nasty title. I've actually never seen this film before, so I was pretty interested in checking it out. Run if you must, hide if you can, scream, but don't answer the phone. So this film actually has quite a bit of plot, which is a little bit surprising for a 1980s sort of slasher film. It basically follows a lot of people, but the first person that we're really introduced to is the killer. This is a film where the killer is known sort of right away. You're sort of following him a lot of the times. And he is sort of this sadistic killer. He's a bodybuilder. He has severe mental issues. He has some past trauma with his father. I believe he's a Vietnam veteran. And it's set in LA. And he's basically picking up and stalking different girls and murdering them and assaulting them. And he also likes to call into this radio show where this therapist is sort of doing this sort of like help advice line thing, but she's also a therapist in the outside too, where she actually has an independent practice and helps people with their problems as an actual therapist. So he calls in a lot of times as this sort of Spanish accent guy, and she seems very concerned about this guy, and he suffers from severe headaches and things like that. And that comes into play throughout the whole film. And then we have another group of characters, these two detectives, who are investigating all the murders that are happening from this killer, and sort of profiling him and trying to figure out who the killer is and where he'll strike next. One of the detectives ends up having like a little romance thing with the therapist. So, got a lot of plot going on here. There's a lot to it. And yeah, so that's basically the story. Everything sort of connects and is intertwined. The film reminds me a bit of Maniac, which came out in 1980 as well. The killer here, Kirk Smith, reminds me of a not as well done Frank Zito. So that's kind of interesting, and the movie is interesting. I do think it's a pretty good movie. It's very sleazy, and it's, violent, obviously. There's a lot of, nudity, and, the killer is a vile person. The whole reason that it sort of reminds me of Maniac a little bit is the psychological aspects, like and the fact that we're actually spending time with the killer. It's not like Who Done It or like a Friday the 13th film where the killer is mostly off screen. We're with the killer, you know what I mean? In fact, he does try to hide his face with like pantyhose, but it is like the most see-through pantyhose ever, because he looks exactly the same with pantyhose as he does without them over his face. But yeah, so you're spending a lot of time with him, so that's sort of why it reminded me of Maniac a little bit. But also the psychological aspects of it, like the fact that he is like a damaged mess of a person, which was very similar with Frank Zito and Maniac. Typically in the 80s, we got a lot of killers who were not really delved that into their personalities or like their psychosis. So it's kind of interesting to see another one like that. I don't think this is anywhere near as good as Maniac, but it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. I really like this movie. It's never gets boring. And in fact, I was actually shocked at how much plot was in this movie, considering most slasher type films of the era were like very light on plot. Vinegar Syndrome put this out here. The transfer looks really good. It's a really good transfer. Yeah. The performance by this lead guy, man, it's something else. He is a weirdo, dude, and he like how he's into the weightlifting, and there's one scene where he picks up a prostitute and he actually gets some coke and heroin, and he's doing it with this prostitute, and he can't get he has a erectile dysfunction going on, and it's just, there's a lot to it, man. It's a crazy movie. But the killer, dude, he just cracks me up, like unintentionally. Like he's just a bizarro killer. But yeah, that's Don't Answer the Phone. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's really good. Check it out. So if you've never seen Don't Answer the Phone, definitely do yourself a favor. Pick up the Blu-ray. I have the slipcover around here somewhere, but yeah, that is Don't Answer the Phone. So with that said, we'll see you guys next time with another one. Peace.